G'day guys, DYLIEDOG here. Now about a week ago we did do a video talking about the rarest and least used skins in Apex Legends. And today we're going to be taking a look at every recolor that has come to Apex Legends but has only ever hit the store once and has never returned. So guys, no bullcrap, let's get into it. And we'll start with Valk, and she has only had one recolor so far in her existence in Apex Legends, which was actually a few weeks ago, which is this one called Airship, which requires Titan Tested, which has last come to the game in September of 2021. And next off we have Fuse, and like Valkyrie, Fuse only has one recolor that's come to the game, which is a Scallywag, which requires Dread Captain, which has last come to the game with the recolor store sale in August of 2021. Next up we have Horizon, and she has had two recolors which have never returned. So first off we have Brave Hero, which requires Terra Nova, which was last seen with the recolor store sale in August of 2021. And we also have Supermassive, which requires Dark Matter, which was last seen in June of 2021. Now to Rampart, we also have two recolors, and first off we have Pack and Paisley, which requires Heritage Pride, which was last seen in August of 2021, and same goes for Rampart's other recolor, which is Metallic Dream, which requires The Devi You Know, which is also last seen in August of 2021. Now we get to Loba, and again she has two recolors, and first off we have Tigress, which requires Purple Rain, which was last seen in the game in August of 2021 with the recolor store sale, and secondly we have Loba's Rum Runner recolor, which requires Bootlegger, last seen in July of 2021. And now we get to Revenant. Now Revenant has had two recolors which have never returned, and both of these recolors were last seen in the store with the recolor store sale, which was in August of 2021, and the recolors in question are Bleached Bone, which requires False Idol, and Predatory Instinct, which requires Unholy Beast. Now don't worry guys, we're going to get into some more rarer recolors right now, where we get into Crypto, and he has two recolors which have never returned, and we start with Masked Storyteller, which requires Masked Dancer, last seen in the recolor store sale in August of 2021, and now we have Winter's Grasp, which requires Rising Phoenix, which was last seen in the game in July of 2020. Now up next we have Wattson. Again, she has two recolors which have never returned, and we start with Ruby Jules, which requires Strange Attractor, which was last seen in May of 2020, and secondly we have Vaporwave, which requires Fly-by-Wire, which was last seen in Apex Legends in January of 2020. Now we get to the most popular legend in the game in Octane, and we have only one recolor for Octane that has never returned, which is Whole Shot Hot Shot, which requires Gold Rush, last seen in April of 2020. Now up next we have Mirage. Well, we have four recolors which have never returned for Mirage, and first off we have Perfect Illusion, which requires Angel City Hustler, last seen with the recolor store sale in August of 2021. Next we have Seafoam Swindler, which requires Ghost Machine, last seen in May of 2020. Now the third one is Folk Hero, which requires The Revenger, last seen in February of 2020. And finally we have Center Stage, which requires Angel City Hustler, which is arguably one of the rarest Mirage skins in the game at the moment, which was last seen in April of 2019. Now we have My Main Man in Caustic, and he also has four recolors which have never returned. And we start with Inmate Nox, which requires Black Heart, last seen in the recolor store sale in August of 2021. Next we have Waste Management, which requires Philosopher's Stone, last seen in February of 2020. Now we get to arguably two of the rarest recolors in Apex Legends, and we start off with Dark Cloud, which requires Divine Right, last seen in May of 2019. And finally we have the Trophy Hunter, which requires Black Heart, last seen in April of 2019. And please, for the love of God, let Trophy Hunter come back because I love that skin so much. Anyway, now let's move on to Lifeline, who has only ever had one recolor never return, which is Rejuvenation, which requires London Calling, which was last seen in the game in April of 2020. Now the next legend we have here is Wraith. However, all of Wraith's recolors have returned at one point or another. So that means there are no rare recolors for Wraith at the moment. So we will move on to Pathfinder, who has had two recolors which have never returned. And we start with Wave Racer, which requires Angel City Pacer, last seen in May of 2020. And we also have Pole Position, which requires Angel City Pacer, last seen in Apex in January of 2020. Now we are up to Gibraltar, where we have two recolors, and we start with Shell Shocked, which requires Ride or Die, last seen in February of 2020. And last of all, we have Code Red, which requires Bunker Buster, last seen in May of 2019 for Gibraltar. So now we have two more legends to go, guys, and we'll take a look at Bangalore, and she has three recolors which have never returned. So first of all, we have High Visibility, which requires Officer Williams, last seen with the recolor store sale in August of 2021. Next, we have Mint Condition, which requires the Enforcer, last seen in March of 2020. And finally, we have one of the most requested recolors for Bangalore to return, which is Cherry Bomb, which requires the Enforcer, last seen in October of 2019. And finally, guys, we get to Bloodhound. Now we have three recolors for Bloodhound that have never returned, and we start with this yellow recolor for Bloodhound, which requires Royal Guard, which hit the store in the recolor store sale in August of 2021. Second, we have Wandering Warrior, which requires Royal Guard, last seen in February of 2020. And finally, even though according to leaks, this skin is expected to return in the coming weeks, as of recording of this video, this skin is not returned. And of course, we are talking about the Great Winter recolor, which requires Imperial Warrior, which was last seen in February of 2019. So there you have it, guys. Those are all the recolors in Apex Legends that have only ever been in the Apex store once and have never returned. But that is all from me, guys. Make sure to like the video and subscribe if you are new to the channel for your daily Apex Legends content. But anyway, guys, DYLIEDOG will catch us all later.